Good morning, students. Today we are going discussing the topic human reproduction. So here, first of all, we have to know about what is a reproduction. Here, what is a reproduction means it is a physiological process. It is a physiological process in which the producing of young ones of their own kind is known as a reproduction. So here it is an important and a physiological an activity. Why I am saying it's a physiological process, also a reproduction, like a digestion, respiration, how it is taken place in our body as a physiological process. Here a reproduction is also a type of a physiological an activity which is taken place in animals also. So here it is a very an important a characteristic feature present in all living organisms. Already we have studied in first year a living world. In the living world, a characteristic features of a living organisms. If you study the characteristic features of a living organism, means out of this living character, an important character is also a reproduction. Why means here reproduction is also a very important a character. Why means to continue their generations or to continue their species from a generation to generation. Here a reproduction is a very important an aspect in all living organisms. So here what is this reproduction means? Here two words we can use. Re means a production. Re one part and another one is the reproduction. So here re means again. Re means again. Production means reproducing. What we are able to produce means again we are producing what the same type of a species are producing. So here the producing of an young ones of their own kind means same type of species can able to produces an young ones. So such type of process we can call as a reproduction. That means here cats will produce cats, the dogs will produce dogs, a humans can able to producing a human being. So this is the type of the same type of or the own species can able to producing so that we can use the word as a reproduction. And here important is here very important you have to identify it is a own species or own kind. That means same type of species only. It is very important. If someone will say the producing of young ones is called as a reproduction. We cannot use the word like that. Why means here same type of species are producing. So here when same type of species are producing, we can able to use the word as a reproduction. That is cats will produce cats, dogs will produce dogs, and the humans will produce humans. And we can get on, we can doubt, sir, if you cross the horses cross with the donkey, we can able to produce mules are produced. Where mules we can use the word as a species. We can use the word species, but these are called as sterile. That means they cannot able to produce and young ones. After the mules formation, they cannot able to produce young ones. If the organism can be able to produce an young ones or the other generation from their generation, what are species means a group of organisms which have a capability of in producing an young ones, intermediate among themselves. and can able to produce a fertile offspring, can able to produce, then only we can use the word as a species. So that here same type of species are producing. So here wool we cannot use the same type, or that is a different crossing of two organisms, but it is an organism or a species only, but it cannot able to produce an egg one. So here you use the word as a sterile and organisms. So here important means the producing of an egg ones of their one kind or one type of, or the same type of species is producing. We can use the word as a reproduction. So here reproduction is a very important a characteristic a feature present in organisms. So that here reproduction is a very important a characteristic feature. Why it is important a characteristic feature in all living organisms is to continue their race or to continue their species from a generation to a generation, from a generation to a generation, to continue their species, generation to a generation, the continuity. So that here it is very important an aspect which is taken place in all organisms. In all organisms means from microscopic organism to the and highly developed human beings also will having the same type of reproduction. That means same type means reproduction will be taken place. So that here reproduction is a very important an aspect which is taken place in all organisms. Now coming to the a character, that is we can say that is a classification. The reproduction is a classified into two types. What are the two types? Now will be discussed. Now coming to the types of reproduction. Types of reproduction. So here there are two types of reproductions are presented. One we can call as an asexual reproduction. First one is the asexual reproduction, and second one, if you see in the second one is the sexual. The second one is the sexual the reproduction. So here these are the two types of reproduction which is taken place in all organisms. That is in lower organisms mainly it is taken place by asexual as well as sexual. In higher organisms it is mainly taken place by the asexual reproduction only. So that here these are the two types. One is asexual. So here A means absenting. Here absent. What absenting means? The sexual, that is the sex cells are absent. The sex cells are the gametes. The gametes are absenting. So here absence of the gametes. So here in the absence of the gametes, but without the gametes, these organisms can be able to produce an egg once. So this type of process we can call them as an asexual. A means absenting, sexual means sex organs. Or gametes are absenting. Without gamete formation or without gametes here of the organism can be able to produce an egg once, then such type of reproduction we can call as an asexual reproduction, where this asexual reproduction will be taken place in lower organisms. In lower organisms here it will be taken place, where here without the gamete formations. Here what are the gametes means? These are the sex cells which are present in living organisms that are absent in the, without sex cells the organism can be able to produce an egg once, then such type of reproduction we can call as an asexual reproduction. So here it is taken place in lower and organisms. It can be taken place. And here, if you see here, the second one, that is the sexual reproduction. Sexual means sex character or sex organs. Here, sex cells or gametes. So, the organism, if the reproduction is taken place in the presence of gametes, here, presence of gametes. The reproduction is taken place presence of gametes, then we can use the word as sexual reproduction, where here the sexual reproduction will be taken place. That means gametes are presenting, sex cells are producing, these sex cells are produced from the sex organs are producing, where here example we can take place like testes and ovaries. So testes and ovaries are called as the sex organs, or they are called as gonads. From the gonads, they can able to produce the sex cells are produced like sperm and ovum. Where from these it helpful for the formation of fusion of gametes. So if the reproduction is taken place in the presence of the gametes, then such type of reproduction we can call as the sexual reproduction. Okay, thank you.